If your adult child has cut ties and you're left wondering what happened, it's one of the hardest things a parent can experience. You're going to find out why adult children go no contact, and I'm going to be sharing some insights at what you can do as a parent to heal, even if your child isn't ready to reconnect. Estrangement can feel like an emotional earthquake. One moment your kid is in your life, and the next they're gone. Silence, nothing. And it can be deafening. You might feel confused, heartbroken, or even betrayed. And it's easy to start wondering, what did I do wrong? Why can't they see everything I've done for them? Hang on to the end of the video, because I'm going to reveal something shocking. And it's part of no contact that no one is telling you. And I want to acknowledge how deeply painful this experience is. I know it's not just about the loss of the relationship. It's about the loss of all the hopes and dreams you had for a close, loving bond with your child. But estrangement is rarely one-sided. Let's find out together what might be happening behind the scenes and how you can begin to heal. Most of what's presented here is not only research, but also from the clients that I worked with. Those that come to me when they want to repair relationships, and there have been successful repairs, and when they want to cope with the grief and learn how to move forward. So as a coach and a therapist, what I can tell you is this: what's happening is a lot more complicated than what you see at first glance. When an adult child goes no contact, naturally parents feel grief unlike any other. It's not just the absence of your child, it's the absence of the future. Imagining your relationship, the weddings, all of that. You may feel an overwhelming sense of guilt, shame, and confusion, and anger. You might be asking yourself, so how could they do this to me after everything I've done for them? And these feelings are valid, real, common. You're not different. It's excruciating, but here's the truth. Estrangement is often rooted in much deeper emotional wounds. It's important to look at the situation through a lens of emotional curiosity and not self-blame or blaming our kids. The feelings you're experiencing are part of the grief process, even the anger, and they can coexist with a desire to understand and heal. So why do they go no contact? What is this all about? The answer isn't simple, and I've talked about it in a couple of other videos. It often stems from unresolved emotional wounds. It's like pain that goes back to something in childhood. And your child may have experienced hurt, neglect, and maybe their needs weren't acknowledged the way they needed them to be. Now, as parents, we often feel like, oh my gosh, I gave them everything. We did it all. We made sacrifices. We offered love and tried to support them as best we could. And yet it can feel like they don't appreciate any of that. In fact, it could feel like they're ungrateful. But let's stop for a second. You might be saying, they don't recognize all the things we did right. Why can't they just let it go? And this can feel especially unfair, and it can be difficult not to get defensive or frustrated. But it's important to remember, their perceptions of the past are real for them, even if we see things differently. And their emotional experiences shape their memories, and those memories influence how they view us now. Oh, I know, it's tough, right? And let's not forget that it's true. There are outliers to this, okay? There are cases where there are circumstances having more to do with the adult child, and it's not just about you as the parent. Many parents react defensively when faced with estrangement, and it's natural to want to protect yourself. Let's be reasonable. We protect ourselves, and your choices, especially when you feel like you've done so many things right. You know, getting them ready for college, doing all the activities, driving them around, etc. But here's where things get tricky. Defensiveness often drives a further wedge between you and your adult child. When you respond with defensiveness, even in the slightest way, it can feel to them like you're dismissing their pain, or you truly don't understand where they're coming from. And the result? they might shut you down even more, and the rift can deepen. And this might have happened without any intention to hurt. I know. I hear it all the time. Immediately after a cutoff, if there's some kind of thing that says, please don't contact me anymore, and parents go at it with an email or something, and they say things, and they go through this whole thing, and they're in shock. And of course, it's reasonable that this has happened. However, this does make things more complicated, but not impossible, okay? It's also common for grieving parents to connect with others who are going through similar pain. But here's a cautionary note. Sometimes this leads to shared anger and blame, and you may hear other parents say, your kids are just brats and disrespectful. And while they may feel validating in the moment, it doesn't help repair the relationship. In fact, it often reinforces the idea that parents are unwilling to be accountable for their own actions. And if you don't believe me, check out some of the spaces where adult children hang out, and you will see that they are saying these very same things. So if you want to heal, it's essential to approach the situation with a lot of empathy. And this means understanding your child's pain, even if you don't agree with their perspective. Empathy requires vulnerability. It's about being open to hearing their feelings without immediately defending yourself. And defending yourself doesn't always mean that we say something. Sometimes it's just our attitude and posture, where we circle the drain of how, oh my God, I can't believe they said this. How could they say that I'm retaliating? How could they say that I'm manipulative? And we circle that as opposed to say, all right, I feel these things. I feel very much like their accusations are ill-founded, but I'm going to lean into a place of vulnerability and being curious of what on earth are they talking about? Can I just see? Can I open my vision to see some of what their lens is? Repair in the relationship isn't about just apologizing for your mistakes. It's also about recognizing the hurt on both sides, and acknowledging their pain doesn't mean you're admitting fault for everything and you're to blame for all of their distress, but it opens the door for reconnection. It's about showing up for them emotionally, even if they aren't ready to engage with you right away. Remember, this doesn't happen overnight. Empathy and healing take time, but they are essential if there's any chance of rebuilding a relationship. It's also important to acknowledge that estrangement often exists on a spectrum. Some relationships involve behavior that's more unreasonable on one side or both sides, and parents might be overly controlling or dismissive or unable to reflect. They may be called toxic, narcissistic, out of their minds, while adult children might be unreasonable and also toxic and controlling and narcissistic and manipulative in how they respond or how they communicate their feelings. But there's no one-size-fits-all explanation, and it's easy to get caught in a narrative where one party is completely at fault. But in reality, many estranged relationships involve complex dynamics with multiple layers. Both parties may have contributed to the breakdown, and this understanding is crucial if there's any hope of repair. And one of the most surprising and under-discussed facts about children going no contact with their parents is that value dissimilarity, this is differences in core beliefs and life choices, can be a stronger predictor of estrangement than abuse, violations of societal norms. A study published in the Journal of Marriage and Family found that when adult children and their parents have fundamentally different values, such as views on religion, politics, lifestyles, this dissimilarity can create severe relational tension, leading to estrangement. And this occurs even in the absence of abuse or serious misconduct. This insight challenges the common assumption that estrangement primarily results from traumatic events or toxic behavior. Instead, it highlights how deeply held differences in identity and values can erode relationships over time, especially when mutual respect and open communication are lacking. For parents, this underscores the importance of acknowledging and respecting their adult children's autonomy and evolving beliefs, and recognizing and addressing these differences with empathy can be a crucial step toward preventing or healing estrangement. So the path to healing after estrangement isn't linear. I wish it was. There will be moments of doubt, anger, sadness, but there's also hope. The key to this is to begin with understanding about your own role in the breakdown. It's not all your fault, but what happened? Your child's experience, and ultimately showing empathy and a willingness to heal. If you're ready to move forward, remember this. This isn't about blaming you, but repairing a relationship takes time, and sometimes that means working through your own pain first. But with the right approach, there's always hope for healing, whether that leads to reconciliation or peace of mind. Watch my next video, how to start family repair work after estrangement. See you in the next video.